Healthy aging is often thought of in terms of exercise, nutrition, or healthcare. But could visiting museums, listening to music, or painting also help us age better? Hi, and welcome to Smart Aging podcast. I'm Emilia, and I'm part of the Smart Aging communications team. For those unfamiliar with Smart Aging, it's a transnational project bringing together experts from fields of care, design, architecture, and engineering to improve everyday life of older adults through sustainable, inclusive, and environmentally responsible indoor environments in assisted living. We also develop and test smart solutions that support well-being, independence, and meaningful living in later life. So smart aging isn't only about improving assisted living or incorporating smart technologies in elderly care, but it's also asking what makes everyday life meaningful for older adults. And in this episode, we are going to take a look into a new study published in Innovation in Aging in May 2026. And the study is about creating an experience in art and how it affects aging. This recent research from University College London suggests that the regular engagement with arts and cultural activities may be associated with slower biological aging and, as many people who engage with creative activities can guess, a better quality of life. And while smart aging focuses on smart technologies and sustainable assisted living environments, the project also aims to improve the emotional well-being and quality of life, which made this study also interesting from the for the project perspective as well. But before we go further with the topic, here are the few disclaimers that I want to mention before. First, my background is in communication, so I'm well aware that my knowledge lacks in the fields of technology, healthcare, and aging-related research. So we are only going to scratch the surface, so to say. And secondly, parts of the script have been translated from Finnish to English with DeepL and proofread with Grammarly. Grammarly? I'm not sure of the pronunciation. But anyways, that said, I'll provide the links to all the sources that I've used in the description of the episode and on the Smart Aging website. And the episode transcription can also be found on the website. But yeah, let's get started. In Does Leisure Activity Matter for Epigenetic Aging? Analysis of arts engagement and physical activity in the UK Household Longitudinal Study, researchers at University College London recently examined how participation in arts and cultural activities relate to biological aging. The study was conducted by using existing data from Understanding Society, the UK Household Longitudinal Study, with the subgroup that had provided blood samples, and with the survey information on people's leisure and physical activities. The researchers combined survey information with DNA methylation data from blood samples of over 3,500 UK adults. And the DNA methylation is a cellular process that regulates gene expression by attaching methyl groups to DNA without overriding its underlying sequence. And these methyl groups are added or removed from particular locations in the genome as we age. And so methylation can be used to estimate aspects of aging. And for example, epigenetic clocks are based on this DNA methylation. And in this study, they use 7 different epigenetic clocks. Epigenetic clocks, to put simply, can be used to measure, for example, what age does DNA methylation look like? How biologically old does the person appear, considering their health and aging-related processes? And how quickly the body appears to be aging. But the data for people's leisure activities was collected via survey from participants about their activities during the previous 12-month period. The reports included participatory arts like singing, painting, crafts, dancing, or attending to events and exhibitions, visiting heritage sites as well as museums, libraries, and archives. From the participants' reports, researchers looked how often people participate in activities and how many different types of activities they did. The similar data was also collected from participants regarding their physical activity. On top of the DNA methylation data and participant survey, the analysis took into account a range of demographic, socioeconomic, and health-related factors that could influence both leisure participation and biological aging. So, in short, the researchers compared different levels of arts and physical activity with epigenetic aging measures and then examined whether the associations were consistent across different aging clocks. Their findings suggest that people who regularly engage with activities like reading, making music, painting, attending cultural events, or other creative hobbies tend to show signs of slower biological aging compared to those who rarely participate in these kinds of activities. Aforementioned activities were associated with up to 4% slower biological aging when participating in creative experiences weekly, and this can be compared to regular exercising. The effects were more visible in middle aged and older adults when researchers did the repeat analysis with participants over 40. It's good to note that the study did not specifically analyze elderly people as separate group, and it's only showing association rather than causation. So the study does not prove that creative activity is the cause of slower aging. However, it adds to the evidence that creativity, social participation, and meaningful activities might play an important role in healthy aging. Other similar studies include, for example, the Irish longitudinal study on aging, also known as TILDA, which examines both active and passive participation of older adults in activities such as going to cinema, plays or concerts, reading books or magazines, listening to music and radio, dancing, and spending time on hobbies and or creative activities. In short, the study found out positive effects of creative activities on health and quality of life. Creative Experience and Brain Clocks study from 2025 found delayed brain age across expert and matched non-expert participants in dance, music, visual arts, and video games. And that suggests that creativity may protect the brain from aging. And then there's few narrative reviews from 2024 and 2025 about visual art therapy as potential treatment for mild cognitive impairment. But why do creative activities have this kind of impact? The different studies have following answers, among others, for this question. First, creativity lowers stress, which reduces inflammation and cardiovascular risks. Then, being creative allows us self-expression, which can give a sense of purpose. And many of the activities contain social aspects and they may bring people together. And these are the things that also connect to SmartAging's senior needs report that also highlighted that emotional well-being and social interaction are among the most important priorities identified by older adults and care professionals across the Baltic Sea region. So, if we want to create better environments for later life, the creativity and social connection have to be part of it. How technology and design can make arts and culture more accessible, and how can assisted living environments support meaningful everyday experiences. Technology can become one of those tools making the opportunities more accessible. For example, digital technologies could allow residents to virtually visit museums, participate in online concerts, and cultural events when their mobility is limited. However, the goal is not to replace the human interaction with technology, but to use the technology and design to create more opportunities and better living environments for participation, social interaction. And while the studies do not prove that going to a museum, paying once a week, or listening to music will make you live longer, they highlight the fact that humans are creative creatures. and that creativity is really important part in every stage of life.